GBPNZD is presenting a big potential to give us 600 pips buying opportunity. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly where you can spot this opportunity, how to get into it and get in early. So I'm currently on the monthly time frame for GBPNZD. And for those of you that have been following me, you can see I already have my rectangular bars out on the chart. This simply are for me to map out my key zones. So, and like I always say, if you do not know how to do this, I have a video on the channel that explains exactly how. Now, the next thing we get to do on this monthly time frame will be to get our directional bias, and that simply means to look at the market structure of the currency pair. So GBPNZD, for to concentrate on the most important part of this chart, you can see that GPNZD has been going upwards. And of course, we know that when the market is going upwards, it simply means that the market is in an uptrend. And how did we arrive at this conclusion? You can see that the market has been giving us a series of higher highs and higher lows. So let's just quickly map out the significant highs and low. So see, give us a high here, came back down, a high, came back down, a high, and is currently coming back down. So if we bring out this chart, we can see that the higher highs and higher lows on those monthly time frame are very closely knit together. So we had higher highs and higher lows. So this is exactly what GBP NZD has been giving us most recently. Now, because this is what we get to do on the higher time frame, we now know that our directional bias is upwards, so we're looking for buying opportunities. And another thing that we get to observe on those monthly time frame is that if we look at our key zones, we can see that the price of GBPNZ is just resting on a very strong support zone. And what makes this a strong support zone? Let's not forget that each candlestick on this monthly time frame takes a whole month to form. So for the past 1, 2, 3 months, or 1, 2, 3, 4 months, GBP has failed to break below this zone, and it has just gotten back to the zone. However, one thing that I'll be mindful of is the momentum of this bearish candle. So it might be that there's a strong probability of breaking through, but because of what it has been doing in time past and the way it has been moving, I have a strong conviction that we're about to get into a long-term buying opportunity that can make us as much as 600 pips. So if we look at this to the left also, you can see that this zone is not just only valid here. If we come towards the left, you can see that in time past, it has also acted as what? A resistance zone for 1, 2, 3 months. And if we come all the way down, we can see that it also acted as resistance for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. So this makes this particular key zone a very, very strong zone. Now, having gotten this on the monthly time frame, the next thing would be for us to go to the weekly time frame. Now, on the weekly time frame, there are a few things that we try to get to include in our analysis. First, we try to confirm that what we saw on the monthly time frame aligns with what we are seeing on the weekly time frame. And very quickly, how do we do this? We look again at the market structure, look at the significant highs and lows, and from what we can see, that GBPNZD clearly aligns with what we are seeing. The structure we are seeing on the weekly time frame clearly aligns with what we saw on the monthly time frame. We can see a series of higher highs and higher lows. So another thing would be for me to now start adding my other tools in which I use in building a good confluence to help me make a good decision as per trading. So the first of this would be to include my trend line. You can see that this also buttresses our initial take that GBPNZ is in a strong bullish trend. But one thing that what of note here is that another thing of note here is that the trend line aligns with our support zone and price is clearly at that point right now. So what do I mean? You can see that both the trend line and our strong support zone from the monthly time frame are both supporting price. So this gives us like a double-edged sword that price is at a very, very, very strong key point of interest. Look at this trend line all the way from, let's look at the time from which we're drawing this trend line, the first touch of the trend line from 2022. So we're having another touch, another very good touch of the trend line in 2026. So that's 4 years. So the duration of this trend line is 4 years, and we're having another touch. So this makes it a very, very strong, another very, very strong support area in addition to the strong support zone that we've drawn from the monthly time frame. So if I'm to take this out, another thing that I can quickly add here to while I'm building this confluence would be the Fibonacci retracement tool. So if I take it from this swing low to this swing high, then I have another strong support to back my take that price is currently at a very strong support zone, and that will be the Fibonacci retracement golden zone. We can see that price is currently at the Fibonacci retracement golden zone. I call this the golden zone because it has the history of being very consistent with either supporting or rejecting price, and that's the zone between the 0.5 and 0.618 mark. And another thing we can also see again is that this zone is clearly aligning with what the strong support zone that we've drawn from the monthly time frame. So I have all these put together so that in the long run I'll be very, very confident when it comes to what taking a trade from this particular area when my entry criteria are all together. So the next thing would now be for me to go to the tradable time frame, which is the what? The daily time frame. Now, the daily time frame, there's something that jumps out to us, and that's the fact that this particular pair, though it has been giving us higher highs and higher lows, that for some time now it has also been what? Ranging, probably trying to decide which direction it should head. But from what we are seeing, I'm already seeing encouraging signs that this particular pair is going to go up. Now, how do I mean? To make this less busy, let me take out this fib tool. Another thing that we can see here is that this is the upper part of this range. So which means if we are to get into this particular trade, our first take profit point would be this resistant part of the range. So because price has currently been moving between this support area, this very strong support area, and the resistance zone. So price is in our support zone. So why I say the signs are very encouraging that this is going to go up is because I can already spot the presence of buyers on the daily time frame. So like I always say, once I have my daily setup like this, the next question would be how do I take advantage of it? And of course, to take advantage of this, we have to go to our entry time frames to see if we can start seeing signs or things that can encourage us to get into the trade. So one of these time frames would be the 4-hour time frame. Now, the 4-hour time frame, we can see that price came down massively with a strong bullish momentum. However, within the entry zone or within the key zone, we can see that buyers are already gearing up to push price upwards. Now, how do I mean? We can see that though price came down with a strong momentum, the momentum is gradually reducing because we can see the presence of what green candles already. I think for the past 12 hours, 12 hours, buyers have been active in this particular market. So that now leads to some of our entry criteria. So first, I'm going to give a few of these criteria, but I try to give the orders to my students specifically. So I'll just go to the 1-hour time frame and tell us one or two things that once you see it, then it will be time to get into this trade. Like I said, this is a very viable trade and a good opportunity to make as much as 600 pips from this particular currency pair. So first of this criteria, entry criteria would be my what counter trend line, the popular counter trend line. And just to add another point for us that might be seeing this video for the first time, another thing that I can spot quickly would be what an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So this would be the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. So if I zoom this in, Let me zoom this in for us to see. So we can see an inverse head and shoulder pattern. And to simply trade this, I'll put this here to map out what the neckline. So the question is, how do you enter this trade? First, we can see that the neckline is even aligning with what our counter trend line. The simple method to get into this would be, once there's a clean break of this trend line, that will also coincide with a clean break of the neckline of the inverse head and shoulder pattern on this 1 hour time frame. We'll wait for a pullback, then we can choose when to what get into the trade. So like I said, the first big point of call would be, or the first major resistance point to this upward movement would be the what, the resistance zone from the what, the range of this that the market has been for some time now. And then let's see what I said. If I was just joking about getting close to 600 pips, if you're able to psychologically play the game. So if this is it, so we can see that we have 603 pips. So like I said, it's a good opportunity to get all this if you are able to jump in early. I've given everything, virtually everything that you need to get into this trade. So if you come across this video, just monitor it, compare it also with your analysis, because I believe that we all are different types of traders, but this is how I like to trade, and I've been consistently okay doing this. So, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if this video has been of any value to you. We also run a trading academy, so if you're interested in knowing how to do this or learning how to do this on your own, then you can reach out via the details on my YouTube bio and the Telegram channel attached to this video. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and do enjoy the rest of your week. Cheers.